From Joseph. Dear Klavan, August Imperator of the Shaven Pate, I have always been fascinated by the intrigue and Baroque atmospheres of the private investigator genre of movies. Love PI movies. There's something about the lone man on the edge of the law that strikes me as supremely compelling. Unfortunately, this genre seems to have fallen out of favor recently. This is true, and I'll tell you why in a minute. The most recent example of a well-crafted PI movie I can recall was A Walk Among the Tombstones, starring Liam Neeson. I saw that. It was good. It's based on Lawrence Block, who is, if you've never read him, he's a very good PI writer. However, there is little before and nearly nothing after of which I'm aware. I'm a millennial and was hoping you could give me your top 3 all-time favorite PI films. Thank you for all you do, your disciple, Joe. You know, there's a theory, and I don't know who first came up with this theory, but there's a theory that police shows are for liberals because it's a trust in government, and PI stories are for conservatives because it's about a lone man taking on the system. In TV, for the last 20 years, you could not sell a private eye show. That's changing a little bit now that there's so many TV channels, but before maybe 3 years ago, you could not sell a private investigator story. They just wouldn't even listen to it. You say, it's about a private eye. No, we don't want it. And I said to somebody once, I said to a producer, why won't you listen to a PI thing? And she said, liberal, of course, she said, the world is just too complicated for a man alone to solve the problems. That is, of course, the classic Wilsonian, liberal argument. The world is too complicated for individuals. It now has to be solved by the experts. So that is why there's some hostility toward PI movies. However, there have been some great PI movies. You have to go back into the black and white. As a millennial, you got to go back into the black and white era to get the really good ones, the best. I'm not going to tell you the 3 best because some of them are just great. Here's some great ones. The Maltese Falcon, probably the greatest private eye movie ever made. That's with Humphrey Bogart. You got to see the one with Humphrey Bogart. The Big Sleep, also with Humphrey Bogart. Murder, My Sweet with Dick Powell, which is also based on a Raymond Chandler story like The Big Sleep. The Thin Man is a funny one, also based on a Dashiell Hammett story like The Maltese Falcon. The Maltese Falcon, The Big Sleep, Murder, My Sweet, Thin Man. Harper, which is based on Ross MacDonald, one of the modern masters, and stars Paul Newman. Lots of fun, a little dated because it takes place in the 60s and has hippies and things like that. Chinatown, if you've never seen Chinatown, excellent movie with Jack Nicholson. Clute with what's his name? Donald. Who's the guy in 24? Does anybody remember? What's that? Kiefer Sutherland. Donald Sutherland, his father, is in Clute. One really strange one is Angel Heart. It has a supernatural story, but it's a really good story, very ugly and scary. And if you've never seen, I don't know if you can get these, but if you've never seen the TV shows Harry O and The Outsider, they're probably a little dated as well, but they're very good private eye stories. Also, if you've never read any of these books, read The Maltese Falcon, read The Big Sleep. They're some of the greatest writing in American literature. Read, what are some of the other really great? Read I, the Jury, Mickey Spillane, really interesting story. That's really good. All right.